You ever have a morning where everything aches, but for some reason you feel like maybe, just maybe, something's gonna give? That's what it was like for me that day. Woke up in the half-light. Back throbbing, hands stiff from years of hauling nets and fixing whatever was falling apart on the docks, but still made breakfast for my son, Mason Jr., and packed our battered lunchboxes like always. Ever since Alyssa died, I felt like I was stuck in this loop. Nothing really living, nothing really dying. Just getting by because I had two kids counting on me to show up. But that day, something called to me, pulled me over to this neglected corner of the harbor where an old yacht, paint peeling, gull droppings everywhere, just sat there like a ghost waiting to be seen. The name on the hull, Ilia, barely visible, caught the light in a way that made me pause. I could tell most of the other dock guys thought the thing was bad luck, cursed, whatever, but for me, I just saw something that needed saving. Maybe that's the only reason I ever do anything these days, trying to fix something because I can't fix what's already gone. First time I climbed up on that deck, I half expected it to fall through under my weight, but it held, stubborn, tired, but not dead. The harbor manager, Dale, just shook his head. "That's a billionaire's mess, Caleb. You're wasting your time," he muttered, but I didn't say much back. That night, after my shift, I came back with a bucket and a rag, started scrubbing away the grime in the fading light. Didn't even know why. Maybe because if I could make something beautiful again, even just for a while, maybe I could find my own way back. The next days, before and after work, sometimes dragging Mason Jr. along, we cleaned, sanded, polished, him calling it Captain Daddy's ship, with this wide-eyed hope that honestly broke my heart and put it back together all at once. Other folks watched and whispered, but I didn't care, just kept going, like every bucket dumped was a little less weight on my chest. One Saturday, after dropping Lily, my daughter, at her friend's place, me and Mason Jr. were deep in the engine room when I found this old photo behind a toolbox. Faded, edges curling, but clear enough. A woman and a man laughing on that same deck, sunlight everywhere. Back of the picture scrawled, "Camille plus James, 2019. I stared at it for a long time. Didn't know their story. But I could feel something in it. Love, loss, maybe both. I put the photo back, whispered, "Sorry, not trying to take your memories, just trying to fix what's broken." Didn't know that less than 2 days later, the woman from that picture would show up, billionaire, sunglasses, heels clicking on the dock, standing at the edge of the pier and staring at what I'd managed to bring back from the brink. She climbed aboard with this look that was half fury, half heartbreak. "Who told you to touch my boat?" she asked, voice brittle, but there was a tremor in it. I wiped my hands on my jeans, told her I meant no harm, just couldn't watch something that beautiful rot away. Mason Jr. peeked out, curious as ever, and blurted, "Is she the lady in the picture?" Camille froze. "What picture?" I handed her the faded photo, and for a moment she looked like she might shatter, her whole world coming undone and put back together in a single breath. "That was me and James," she finally said. Sitting on the bench, voice thick. "He died in a storm. I locked this boat up and just left it." I told her I understood. That sometimes you have to fix what's broken on the outside to start healing the inside. She just nodded, eyes full of something fierce and grateful and sad all at once. That night, she came back, not with lawyers or a security detail, but with groceries. "You brought her back to life," she said, awkward but determined. "I want to cook you dinner. Thank you for not letting her die." We fumbled through pasta on the tiny galley stove, Mason Jr. giggling, her laughing when she almost set the place on fire. We ate by lantern light, swapped stories about the people we'd lost, the nights that never seemed to end. I told her about Alyssa, how she never made it home from that last nursing shift. She told me about James, about plans left unfinished. There were tears, but also laughter. That strange feeling when grief finally lets a little light back in. That became our new routine. Camille kept coming back. Sometimes in fancy dresses, sometimes in old jeans, never with the billionaire armor on. She'd clean, paint, play cards with the kids. The old yacht, now sparkling, sails patched, brass polished, became a gathering place for us and anyone else looking for a piece of hope. One night, she stood at the wheel, hands trembling. "I haven't moved her since James died," she said. I stood behind her, steady, calm. "You've got this," I whispered, and she took the yacht out into open water, face lit up in the moonlight, finally smiling for real. "You would have loved this," she whispered, and for the first time in years, so did I. Weeks passed. We rebuilt the boat, built bunks for the kids, even planted a little herb garden on the stern. The marina folks stopped whispering, started waving. Camille started showing up with blueprints, plans to make the yacht something new, something that belonged to all of us. One rainy afternoon, thunder booming, we all took shelter in the cabin. She watched me read to Lily, saw the way the kids clung to her, and when the power flickered out, she just lit a lantern, wrapped Lily in a blanket and whispered, "You're the strongest man I know." I didn't answer, just took her hand, kissed her knuckles, and let the silence say everything. When the storm cleared, she stood on the dock, looking out at the water. "I used to think the ocean took everything from me," she said. "Now it feels like it gave something back." I told her sometimes losing it all is the only way to see what you really need. She leaned close, voice shaking. "You brought my heart back." I laughed. "You have no idea how dangerous that is." But I knew I'd never felt more alive. One evening, she handed me a little brass plaque. "Ilya, reborn by hands that love." We had a celebration, just us, the kids. Music from an old Bluetooth speaker, cake, cider, Lily throwing flower petals, and Mason Jr. leading a toast to Captain Lady and Captain Daddy. That night, as Camille brushed Lily's hair, my daughter asked, "Are you going to stay?" Camille said, "Would you want me to?" Lily grinned. "You smell like cookies and hugs." Camille just laughed and kissed her head, turned to me, eyes shining, and said, "She's easy to love." I replied, "So are you." Then came the twist. Camille showed up one morning, envelope in hand, cheeks flushed. Inside was the deed, half the boat in my name. "I want you to share this with me," she said, voice trembling. "No strings. Just us." She pulled out a ring box, heart pounding. "Not now, but maybe someday." I couldn't speak, just stared, overwhelmed, and she smiled. "You fixed me, Caleb." 3 days later, she disappeared. Business in New York, board meetings, everything suddenly up in the air. The kids kept asking where she was. And I tried to act calm, but my chest ached every night. Then, late one evening, a black SUV pulled up. Camille stepped out, dressed sharp, eyes focused, but softer than I'd ever seen her. She sent her assistants away, climbed onto the yacht, and pulled out the ring again. "I know this isn't the usual way," she said, voice shaking, "but I want family. With you. With your kids. With whoever we become together. Even if it means starting over somewhere new." The kids peeked out. Mason Jr. yelled, "I approve." Lily clapped. I took her hands, tears in my eyes. "Are you sure?" She grinned. "Only if you ride out the storm with me." We hugged. We laughed. We kissed. Dock workers cheered. Dale teared up. And suddenly the yacht felt like home. The wedding was simple. Sunset. Music from a local band. Lily dropping petals. Mason Jr. bearing the rings. Camille in a simple dress. No diamonds. Just happiness. We said our vows where grief once lived, and by nightfall, we were a family, real and new. Camille shifted her business to Maine, started a non-profit for kids on the water. I kept working the docks and taught teens how to fix boats. The Ilya became a symbol in town, a place for second chances, for hope, for quiet joy. Sometimes families would come just to sit in the sun, feel the breeze, remember that healing is possible. Every sunrise, I'd stand at the bow with Camille, coffee in hand, feeling whole for the first time since Alyssa died. What's next? She'd ask and I'd smile. Wherever this boat takes us, as long as we're together. If you ask me what matters most after everything I've lost and found, it's this. Sometimes love isn't about fireworks or fairy tales. It's in the quiet fixing, the second chances, the people who stay when everyone else leaves. That's the real treasure. Tell me, what would you have done? Have you ever brought something, or someone, back to life just by showing up? Comment your story, your second chance, or your own harbor of hope. Because maybe, just maybe, your next sunrise is waiting right around the corner.